I'm going to call the House Judiciary Committee to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the attendance?
Chair Lightner.
Here.
Representatives Begol.
Here.
Wozniak.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
DeBoyer.
Here.
Johnson. Here. Schutte.
Here.
Carter. Hope.
Here.
Green. Scott.
Present.
Madam Chair, you have 9 members present. You do have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And Rep. Begol moves to excuse absent members. Hearing no objection, absent members are excused. Next up, we are going to have Rep. Wozniak adopt the minutes from November 12th. Hearing no objection, minutes are adopted. Next up, we're going to kind of move this agenda around just a little bit due to other conflicts in the schedule this morning. So we are going to address House Bills 5314, 5315, and 5316. Rep. DeBoyer and Rep. Cavitt, if you would like to go to the table and present your bills, you gentlemen have the floor.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. House Bill 5316 clarifies venue rules in MCL 600.1631. Under current law, the Attorney General may bring cases to Ingham County even when the events, witnesses, and issues are located somewhere else in the state. This has effectively centralized cases in Lansing, regardless of where they actually belong. House Bill 5316 simply states that Ingham County can only be used as venue when no other venue is proper under Michigan law. It does not remove any authority from the Attorney General, only ensures that cases are filed when they arise. This bill supports fairness, transparency, and access to justice by allowing local communities to participate in cases that directly affect them. I respectfully ask for your support for House Bill 5316. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the committee, 5314 essentially repeals a section of law that provides for the Attorney General to choose Ingham County as the venue location to try cases that are tried by the Attorney General's office, regardless of the location that perhaps the crime or the civil action occurred in the state of Michigan. And as you may be aware, that's a provision that actually only exists for the Attorney General's office. No other prosecutor can do that. Certainly no litigants in a civil case can do that. And clearly a defendant does not have the luxury of making a choice of where their venue is with regard to their case. And I would say that the fact that that exists in Michigan law is a direct, it's an insult and it's a direct slap against the rights of defendants with regard to the venue in which they are held to a jury of their peers. Because clearly your peers are most likely the individuals that live near or at least in your community. And for an exemption to be carved out for the Attorney General's office to be able to choose where that venue would be, bringing it to Ingham County, I believe is just a complete failure of the statute. And I would say that there's been an alarming increase of what I define as venue shopping by the Attorney General's office. You can see cases that have been brought here from other jurisdictions in the state of Michigan during the COVID epidemic. You can see venue shopping with regard to some of the cases that the Attorney General has signed on that has challenged the current presidential administration. In fact, there's 38 that has been signed on to by the current Attorney General at a federal level. And it's interesting when you look at those cases to demonstrate the venue shopping. And the purpose and the motivation, in my opinion, behind the venue shopping is that the venue shopping provides for the prosecutors or the civil litigants in some of these cases to choose a venue that they believe is going to be more advantageous to them, which is a slap directly in the face of blind justice. Of the 38 cases, that are filed currently against the presidential administration, just for the interesting, and you can make your own conclusions, but here's where they're filed. And by the way, our Attorney General is a party to these. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. District of Columbia, Maryland, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. New York, Massachusetts, Maryland, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Washington, Rhode Island, Maryland, Massachusetts, Washington, California, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, California, Massachusetts, Oregon, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Oregon, Rhode Island, Oregon. Not a single case filed in the state of Michigan that our Attorney General is a party to. That is in it and of itself a demonstrable example of the desire to venue shop. The 5315 will eliminate that. 5315 will say that if the Attorney General is going to prosecute a case or be involved, it must be in the appropriate venue that case shall be, and it should only come to Ingham County if they cannot establish a proper venue otherwise. 5316, which Representative Cavitt talked to, again prevents, it's the totality of the bill to prevent bringing those cases to Ingham County. I would say that the examples that I have seen that have been brought to me concerning some of these egregious violations of individuals' rights to pick a jury of their peers in their jurisdiction, as they should be allowed to, is enough for us as legislators to consider the validity of this statute. And by the way, this is not just pointed at the current Attorney General's administration. This would be pointed at all future Attorney Generals. It's just not an appropriate thing to give the prosecutor of a case an unfair advantage to be able to choose a venue. You can't do that as a lawyer. If I am a plaintiff in a civil case, I cannot pick my judge. If I judge shop, I can be sanctioned for that. And the reason for that is because that tilts the scales of justice in your direction. So with that, Madam Chair, I would open it up to any questions.
Rep. Harris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate you guys bringing this forward. It's, I do see an issue with current law, but I know you kind of detailed venue shopping outside of Michigan, but is this happening within the state? Like Michigan state cases, are they happening here where that venue shopping is occurring, or is it just the out-of-state issues?
I would say yes. We do have the case from a couple of cases. Do you have a thumb drive? There's a couple cases that we have dealt with. The case of an individual during COVID that was brought to Ingham County from Allegan County, housed in the Ingham County jail, and the trial was in Ingham County. For what purpose did we not allow that person to be charged or tried in their own county? I don't understand the purpose behind that. And I do have, actually, if you can indulge me, I have a less than a minute clip that I would love to play if we can, you know how to operate this thing. Oh, okay. So, just before we play, it's just one video audio, but I don't want to play yet.
Well, I want to expand on your case too,
Sure.
Representative, just to help you out. In case you don't know, Mike, it was a restaurant owner actually that had a restaurant and didn't shut down during COVID. So the crime was committed in Allegan County, and they kind of refused service and to pick her up, to basically charge it, their own local prosecutor. And so the Attorney General intervened and had her arrested and brought here. Booked here, charged here, trial here.
And I agree. I see concerns, and that's why I was looking for more examples here in Michigan, because I think we'd all like to be judged by a jury of our peers.
Now, also, as you're getting that up, gentlemen, this doesn't preclude the Attorney General from assisting other prosecutors or intervening in other cases. It's just the venue has to be here, or in the one instance when you say there's no other proper venue, which I'm guessing is going to be the intervention cases.
Right.
It doesn't make it so they can't still help, because we have issues, like for instance in Wexford County that just happened. That was a case that just happened. Brand new prosecutor, who just doesn't have experience yet, and the attorney general at the discretion of that prosecutor can help assist in that case, but that case would still happen in Wexford. But this doesn't preclude the attorney general from still assisting
Correct.
around the state.
Correct. I would say what this really does is it looks at a statute that leaves an opening to actually weaponize the office, and move individuals from a venue otherwise that would be the natural place for that case to be heard, and moves it to Ingham County, where the attorney general's office may believe that they have a better opportunity to get a conviction. That tips the scales of blind justice. So what I'm going to play here really quick for you, based on the information that I've already provided and what the question that has been posed, is I'm going to play a quick clip here. This clip involves Criminal Bureau Chief Danielle Hageman Clark. You'll hear her speak. It also involves a detective sergeant from the Michigan State Police. And this is a discussion that's going to be had after a proffer has been proposed to an individual, and the individual leaves the room. And the only individuals left in the room are, as I mentioned, Ms. Hageman Clark, a couple of state police detective sergeants, another staff member from the Attorney General's office, as well as two special agents that both work for and directly to the Attorney General's office. So this is them discussing what they're going to do in regard to a case against an individual prior to choosing the venue.
Okay, so what next? Anything else you guys want to ask them?
There might be stuff after we break it down, but I think I'm good for right now. I like him. I mean, he's full of credible.
Yeah, to me it seems like, and we can do however you guys want to do this, but if we can prosecute anybody in Oakland County versus Roscommon County, love you guys to death up there. Yeah. I don't want a jury up there.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm not down with trying to pick no Roscommon jury. There's lynching people. We can pick an Oakland County jury. I'm not going that far.
I'm like,
Listen, I really like Mary Beebe. I think she's a great prosecutor up there, but I don't want to be picking a jury of her peers up there on this kind of crap.
Did you hear those words? Did you hear those words? I'm gonna reiterate a couple of the sentences that were in here. I'm not down with trying to pick no Roscommon jury. I think she's a great prosecutor up there, but I don't want to be taking a jury of her peers up there on this kind of crap. That's the Criminal Bureau Chief of the Attorney General's office. That is an absolute and clear violation of ethics to a dramatically high degree. Maintaining the ethics of the profession. Item D. Engaging in conduct that is prejudicial to the administration of justice. You just heard the number one criminal attorney from the Attorney General's office articulate the fact that they knew that there would be a bias against them if they tried a case in Roscommon County. And you want to tell me there's not a weaponization going on in the Attorney General's office? Any attorney sitting on this panel, or for that matter in our legislature, should be filing a grievance on this. It's a complete and utter violation. That's why these bills have been introduced. It has gotten out of control. People using the powers of their offices to go at political foes or tip the scales in their direction. And I would ask this committee to vote unanimously to push these bills out and send them to the House floor. Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you. We have a couple more questions. Rep. Breen.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for bringing this forward. First of all, I'm not sure about that conversation you just played. I'm not sure whether or not there may have been a violation of attorney-client privilege there.
It's a public record.
So, okay. But now there's been a lot of discussion here about venue, and I think we need to make it clear here that you can't bring a case where a crime didn't occur. There are jury trials and there's bench trials, so as far as who's going to be deciding a case, it's not always going to be a jury. Sometimes it's a judge. And it's the Attorney General's job to represent the people of Michigan. So when you have cases involving the state, it does make sense to have it take place in Lansing. However, what I'm not hearing anything about is part of these bills says that the job of the Attorney General is to represent or intervene in any court case where the state has an interest at any stage in the proceeding when requested by the governor, either branch of the legislature, or in their own judgment, the interests of the state.
That's current statute.
And so one of these bills says it's going to strike that language about the Attorney General using her own discretion to intervene in a case. Now, I like you guys personally. I do. And this is playing out like a political attack against the current Attorney General. Should these bills come to fruition, we don't know who the next Attorney General is going to be a year from today, which is when these bills would probably be going into effect. So my question to you is not whether or not you're trying to subvert the will of the voters that elected the Attorney General to represent their interests, but instead, with the small fraction of the cases that they have filed overall are against the current federal administration, which is trying to use federal administrative power to take back over $2 billion that has been allocated to the state of Michigan for our kids, for our hospitals, for our police. My real question is, if the Attorney General had not intervened in those federal cases, how much of those $2 billion do you think we should just let the federal government keep?
She didn't intervene in those cases. She's a plaintiff. She did not intervene. Those are not interventions by her. Those are 38 cases. Those are not interventions. You are a lawyer and you know the difference. Those are not interventions. She is a plaintiff in the case. There's nothing preventing her from being a plaintiff. She cannot intervene. Intervention should occur in our state, and it should occur when the governor or the legislature believes that intervention is necessary. You speak of the will of the people. I would say that the will of the people are not in line in the state of Michigan with the current the current Attorney General. I am not here to attack the current Attorney General. I am here to demonstrate to you that there is a tremendous bias that exists in the judicial system. And that tremendous bias leans hard to the Attorney General. The Attorney General is the only entity in the structure that can pick the venue that is more beneficial to them. If I do that as an attorney, I am judge shopping and I will be sanctioned. Only the Attorney General can do that, and it should stop.
Okay, next up, Rep. Johnson. Okay, Rep. Wozniak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do you know if other states have a right to intervene in our state?
I cannot answer that.
Okay. Second of all, on the summary we'd gotten, it says there's a fiscal analysis pending, because it's obvious it's going to cost more money.
Well, that depends. That depends. If we are chasing wild geese on cases and spending money on cases that do not impact the people of the state of Michigan, or they impact the people of the state of Michigan, in the opinion of the Attorney General, I would say that the opposite could be true, because we're going to be spending money on cases that perhaps really are not in the interest of the people of the state of Michigan. They're more interested in the political purview of the individual doing the chasing.
Good point. And does this new proposal contradict the federal rule 24 with regard to intervention, where there's an intervention of right?
You're an attorney talking to me about Rule 24, did you say? At the federal level, I would defer to you to answer that one.
Or our legal counsel. We can get answers on that, Waz.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Representative.
All right. I think that's it for now. Rep Hope.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just, thinking back to law school, it's been a little while, but as I recall, civil procedure was one of the most difficult courses there are to take in law school, and in fact, it's 2 semesters. So are we going to hear from an expert on civil or criminal procedure today, or an expert in constitutional law?
Are we going to hear from an expert in what context? That your role as a legislature is to make a determination on what the laws of the state of Michigan are? Is that what we want to get from them?
You're talking a lot about venue and other aspects of litigation, so are we going to hear from any expert in that area?
What defines an expert?
Why are you asking me questions?
You're a legislator.
I am aware of that. I'm also a licensed attorney.
Uh-huh.
So thanks for the condescension and dismissiveness.
All right, members. We can handle this outside of here. Rep Johnson. Oh, Shooty, sorry.
So Attorney General's office is essentially the largest law firm in the state of Michigan, more than 300 attorneys that work from them, and they have offices in Lansing, but also in Detroit. And the Attorney General's office also very often tries cases in the jurisdiction where the case is coming up. So you would say it's not an overly burdensome thing for the department to do this, take this step.
No, not at all.
Yeah. And then, the Attorney General's office also tries, thousands of cases, right? And it seems like there's a select few where they have cases like Marlena's Bistro where they would try to find a specific venue to have a more favorable jury. Is that a correct analysis of the
That is if you actually look at the data, that is absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right, final question. Rep Breen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So it is absolutely within the purview of the legislature to oversee the spending that we allocate to different state departments. And you guys have done a wonderful job through your many oversight hearings discussing that. And in one of the prior hearings, you had prior Attorney Generals Mike Cox and Bill Shooty there, and they were actually discussing the role the legislature plays in deciding what the Attorney General does within her discretion. And what I'm wondering if you agree with their statements that they made, because they agree, like, the legislature should have some oversight of the spending, but they also said the legislature should not be interfering with the decisions of the Attorney General's department when it comes to these legal matters, whether it is venue, whether it is to bring a particular motion, whether or not they should be bringing certain witnesses, whether or not they should be intervening in what case and where. Wouldn't you agree with what the former Republican Attorney General said about what the legislature should be intervening with when it comes to the Attorney General's office?
Yes, I would. And I would say this. Their comments were very
I mean, you
specific.
just answered my question, so.
Yes, I would agree with them if you take what they said in context.
Yeah, that was the context.
The context of these bills that we are introducing is not regard to interfering with specific cases. It's with regard to the practice. The practice
of law, which falls under the purview of the Attorney General,
the practice
not the legislature.
Is under the statutes established by the legislature of the state of Michigan and are signed into law by the governor.
We're talking about choosing venue. That is a legal decision that falls under the parameter of the attorney that is handling the case.
Granted to them by statute.
But deciding where and how.
Granted to them by statute.
This is a circular argument.
Okay. Well, today was testimony only. We can have further discussion with the representatives later. as far as, you're circling back around. So anyways, at this point, we are going to let, I'm going to read in a card in regards to 5316, not wishing to speak, supports the bill, Randy Gross from the Michigan Chamber. Okay. And next up, we are going to move into voting on a few different bills. First up on the agenda, we have House Bill 4586. Rep. Bagol moves to report House Bill 4586 with recommendation. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Chair Lightner.
Yes.
Representatives Bagol.
Yes.
Wozniak.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
DeBoyer.
Yes.
Johnson. Yes. Shooty.
Yes.
Carter. Hope. No. Breen.
Pass.
Scott.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, you have 7 yeas, 2 nays, 1 pass. House Bill 4586 is reported with recommendation.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next up, we have House Bill 5113. Rep. Harris moves to report House Bill 5113 with recommendation. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Chair Lightner.
Yes.
Representatives Bagol.
Yes.
Wozniak.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
DeBoyer.
Yes.
Johnson. Yes. Shooty.
Yes.
Carter. Hope. No. Breen. Pass. Scott. No. Madam Chair, you have 7 yeas, 2 nays, 1 pass. House Bill 5113 is reported with recommendation.
Thank you. Next up, we have House Bill 4980. We do have a card wishing to speak and opposing the bill, Kathy Garrett, Wayne County Clerk. If you would like to please approach, that would be great. If you could keep your testimony 3 to 5 minutes, that would be excellent. All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Good morning, and thank you to the chair and the rest of the committee for giving me this opportunity. It is my understanding that 4284 has already left. I have submitted a testimony of my opposition to both of the bills. And I guess the most reason that I'm here is my understanding, other than my opposition, my understanding is that in one of the former committee meetings, in essence, that Wayne County was used, so to speak, as a poster child as to why 4980 should be moved forward. So I thought on this snowy, icy, rainy day that it is only incumbent upon me as the clerk of Wayne County to come for any questions, any discussion, or whatever.
Do you want to address how 4980 affects Wayne County in particular? 4980 is the bill at hand that we're getting ready to vote on. That allows for people to file in any county, because what we heard in committee was it's a statewide license. We get that there's a county interest as well, but due to some of the backup how it was expressed to us.
I'd like to address that first.
Go ahead.
And with that, I think that it's I know that it's a miscommunication. There is no backup. The only time that there was a backup, which I'm sure was in any county, and that was during COVID. Wayne County was one of the few counties, if not the only one, that was open during that whole time. And the employees were off, and we had one dedicated employee that dealt with CPL. But other than that, there has not been a backup. I think the difference is in a backup or backlog versus being able to get an appointment to come in when you want it. That's where the break happens.
What's the average timeline in Wayne County right now? Can you, for a new applicant?
We're meeting the 45 days, and even if you didn't, the law allows on that 46th day that you're able to carry your receipt, that you're good until you get that physical license. So no harm is there, but we are meeting the 45 days, even with us getting a minimum of 100 applicants a day, and 5 of them are seeing 20 minutes at a time, 5 applicants, but no less than 100 a day, and that doesn't account for those that just walk into the office. But as I said in my testimony, this to me would be extremely confusing. There's unfairness to it, absolutely. If an individual can go to Oakland County, but they're a Wayne County resident, and that initial application is processed there's a liability as far as the renewal, even though I understand that clerk would be responsible. But what if that individual decides to come to Wayne County for renewal? It's just very confusing. Staffing issues, everything that I have put in line on my testimony, it's a very confusing, and I see where it's staffing, it's a disparity to all counties, where it's like a shell game. You would take a Wayne or Oakland or Macomb, where it's a high volume, maybe transfer that to a smaller county. I oppose it for so many reasons, and the fact that I'm trying to talk fast because I know I don't have a lot of time, but I have submitted my testimony to each of you.
Yes, I'm sorry, I forgot to say that. We did upload your testimony as well. And you speak to the renewal process. When we renewed, I just got a PIN number from my county clerk, and I did it on the state police website. I didn't have to do anything else.
But just like this provides option, what I have found in Wayne County, there are individuals that choose to do that, but we still have a high volume of individuals that come in and want to renew in person.
Interesting.
It is.
I just think it's interesting because, online, it literally took
and then you
less
have
than
to
5
think,
minutes.
even in this time, we would think everyone is technologically savvy, but they're not. And some of our older residents, they like to come in and get it.
Sure. Okay. Rep Scott.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk, for coming in today under these circumstances and the weather. Did anybody ever reach out to you regarding the bill sponsors regarding this legislation at all?
No.
To have a conversation?
Not at
or
all.
to get information?
Not at all.
All right. Thank you.
Rep Johnson. You're good? All right. Thank you. We are going to go ahead and continue with voting. We're going to do Rep Bagol moves House. Rep Bagol moves House Bill 4980 with recommendation. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Chair Lightner.
Yes.
Representative Bagol.
Yes.
Wozniak.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
DeBoyer.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Schutte.
Yes.
Carter. Hope.
No.
Breen.
Pass.
Scott.
No.
Madam Chair, you have 7 yeas, 2 nays, 1 pass. House Bill 4980 is reported with recommendation.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next up, we're going to address Senate Bill 158. If you would like to address the podium, that would be great. And I do have a card. It's going to be Grace Rowley from Senator Kavanaugh's office. Thank you. Welcome. Obviously supporting the bill and wishing to speak. So
thank
you have the
you.
floor.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Leitner and members of the committee. My name is Grace Rowley, and I'm Senator Kavanaugh's legislative director. She apologizes for the conflict in her schedule that prevents her from being here today. Senate Bill 158 seeks to give the state enforcement power to combat malicious actions in the ticket resale space, specifically targeting bots. I believe this committee heard House versions earlier this year, sponsored by Representatives Harris and McFall. Thank you for your work on this issue. But as a refresher, bots are software applications that perform automated actions and repetitive tasks to impersonate online human activity. In terms of live events, this means bots programmed to circumvent ticket seller regulations such as online queues, pre-sale periods, or ticket limits to purchase tickets in mass quantities before fans can access them and then resell them for an astronomical markup. These bots have the capacity to purchase up to 15,000 event tickets in as little as 2 minutes and go on to resell those tickets for as much as 70 times their original price. We saw this most notably in 2023 during the Taylor Swift Eras Tour, where resellers made over $600,000 in profit with their targeted bot attack during the ticket resale window. This isn't something that we can just shake it off, if you will. This practice has been illegal federally since 2016, but we are still experiencing this issue. Ticketmaster reported that anywhere from 30 to 50% of event tickets purchased in the general sale period are purchased by bots for the resale market. And if it happens in Michigan, we need to delay recourse for federal enforcement action. So what this bill seeks to do is put the enforcement power into the hands of our state government, giving Michigan the authority and tools to take on these bad actors when they target ticket sales in our state. Senate Bill 158 would create the Event Online Ticket Sales Act to prohibit resellers from circumventing or disabling a technological measure used to identify fraudulent tickets, or to put in place to enforce ticket purchasing limits, electronic queues, waiting periods, presale codes, or other limitations on sales volume. Live events are a large driver of our economy and culture, and they should be a time of enjoyment, not an opportunity for bot scammers to exploit consumers. So this legislation will give our state the tools necessary to take on these deceptive tactics and enable more people to purchase tickets at a reasonable price. Thank you, Chair and committee members, for hearing this testimony today, and I urge your support on this legislation.
Thank you. I think it was more funny when Rep. Harris, though, was using all the, song references. That was funny coming from a dude. So, but thank you. I appreciate your efforts today.
I did 13 of them.
Yeah, it was a
And
lot.
that's Taylor Swift's number, as we know.
All right. Thank you, Grace. Appreciate you being here. We are going to go ahead and move on to voting then on Senate Bill 158. I will move to report Senate Bill 158 with recommendation. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Chair Lightner.
Yes.
Representatives Bagul.
Yes.
Wozniak.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
DeBoyer.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Shooty.
Yes.
Carter. Hope.
Yes.
Breen.
Aye.
Scott.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 10 yeas, 0 nays, and 0 pass. Senate Bill 158 is reported with recommendation.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Seeing no further business before the committee is adjourned.